Hello, I'm going to do a quick video on producing a ring in Rhino. The video is aimed at people who have not really used Rhino before. I know it's quite daunting when you first open it up and look at it, so I thought I'd just do a quick walkthrough of making a ring, and at least then you've got a bit of a focus, something to have a go at doing. So first of all we need to start off with a circle, which is a ring size, the size of your finger. So if we click on this icon here, it comes up with circle center radius. What we need to do is put that in this space. Now if you imagine this as a piece of paper, that's how I sort of do it at first anyway. Each of these squares represent a millimetre, and this represents the middle of the paper here, the centre of the paper. If you can see that. But also the paper works in 3D to make it a little bit more complicated. So that's your front view. So if you can imagine you've got a table, the piece of paper stood upright 90 degrees to the table. If you look at the top, it's laid flat on the table, and then if you look at the right, obviously it's the side of the paper. And the perspective window here gives you a 3D view of what's going on. You can zoom in and zoom out of the view with your scroll on your mouse, and if you right click it, you can also pan around in them views. Now I don't want to right click at the moment because I've got this command of a circle in, and if I right click it, that also acts as an enter button as well. If you follow the command line up here, gives you an idea what's going on. Also, something that's really helpful with Rhino, we've pre-selected the circle command. If we go into help and then help topics, or even just press F1, it'll bring up that command and how it works. So basically circle creates a circle. Technical. Follow the prompts. So that's what you do. So it's really handy, every command will do that as well, so it gives you a bit of an idea if you're getting lost. But what we need to do is put this in the middle of our page. Now the word origin is also called 0, 0, 0, or a shortcut for that. If you just type in here 0 and press enter, 0 and enter, it puts the centre of the circle in the middle of the world. So now we need to work a size out, so let's do it 20 milli, big man size ring. So if we type into here, we've got it set to diameter there. If we type 20 into there, press enter, that'll give us a circle of 20 millimeters, which is great. Now what we need to do is make a cross section now. So if you can imagine, if you're sizing a ring, you cut a slither of metal out and you turn that metal onto its side, the shape of that metal is going to be a cross section. So I'm just going to go for something really simple. So if we go for a rectangle, and then if you click on it and hold your mouse down on it, it'll bring you these flyouts out. You want to be picking that one there in the centre. So another thing that's really useful when you're drawing is it's dead important to have everything square and touching. You see, if that cross section was there, for instance, when it followed this ring around to make the ring, which will become clearer in a bit, it wouldn't be the right size. So you need to make everything touching. So there's a thing down here called O snaps. So if you end, mid, and you can select whatever you want. Now basically for this, I'll explain in another video probably, but you want end and mid on, and maybe quad as well, doesn't matter. So we're going to go in the top view because we want the ring to go round, up and round, if that makes sense. So if you're looking down on it, we want it to sweep round it. we're going to click there, and then again in the input line here we're going to click 2 and enter, and that then gives us a 2mm there. So you see, no matter how I move this box, it's always going to be 2mm. Move the cursor, it's always going to be 2mm. Now also what I want to do while I'm at it is click rounded here, and then width, please enter the width. Now you can press enter or right click, and then that will reuse the that'll reuse the length, but we don't want to use that obviously because it's not wide enough for what we want. Well, it's not obvious, is it? But for what I've got in mind, so we'll click 7 and enter. Now, if you can see, it's put us a cross section there, or a but because we clicked the rounded, it's asking us now, if we zoom in there with the scroll wheel, what shape we want this. And as you move, you can see that curve moving, or that cross section curve moving. So you just get to something that you like, and then click on it, left click on it. Now that's great, but I don't know if you can see there, it's not really where we want it. We need to move it out to the edge of this ring size. So there's a really cool command, transform, move, and because again we've got our O snaps on, when we hover over that, point to move from, so we want to move from there. Now you can see it's flashing mid, which is the middle of this line, which is good, and we want to snap to the end, or the quad, which is here, which we've done, which is brilliant. So now I can probably show you better in this view. We want to sweep that all the way around there, and that'll produce our ring shape. There's a command for that in Surface called sweep one rail, and it's saying select rail, so that's the rail we want to select. Select the cross section curves, which is that, press enter when done. So there you can see it's built this surface for us now. We'll just press OK for now, and that's the start of our ring. Now if you right click on this tab at the top, you can change the way it looks. So if we click that into a shaded mode, we've sort of got a bit of a ring shape going on there. Now if we want to make it a little bit more interesting, maybe we could add a star shape and cut that out. So if we select this, now there's different ways of selecting things, and the more complicated the models get, the different methods you have to use. But you can either just click on it with a pointer, and that'll select the part that you want. Or if you want to select everything, you can draw. If you left click, keep the left click pressed, you can draw a box around it, and that'll select everything. Or if you left click again but drag the box that way, you get a dotted line, and everything that dotted line touches will get selected. So I'll try and explain it a little bit better. If I was to do that, it wouldn't select anything. I have to select the whole item. Whereas if I do it that way with a dotted line, it'll get it, even though you've not selected it all. Again, it's not an important thing now, but it does come in really handy for more complicated stuff. So if we want to put a shape in the top here, what we can do, we'll select this, and then this light bulb here hides it, so everything's gone now. It's still there. If we right click on the light bulb, it comes back, but we're going to select it and hide it. And if we click on this polygon shape, there's a star one there, we're going to use that. Centre of the star, again we want this in the world origin, so we'll click 0, press enter. So we've got a star coming up there. Or we've not got pentagon, haven't we? So what we'll do is we'll set that, set wherever you want, and then pull that in. What we've got then is a star shape. That's a curve, so we want to really make this into a solid object now. So if we click surface, and there's a command in here called extrude curve. So if you extrude it, you pull it out, you make it longer. And we want to do it straight, so we'll click on straight. Select curves to extrude, so we'll draw a box around that one, because that's all we want. Press enter when done. And then, as you can see, probably better in that one. Now if you double click on this tag here, it brings that into a full screen view, which is handy if you want to look into things. But I'll go back, so double click it again, and then if you work off that, if we go something like that, but also what we need to have to look at here as well, something when you're using it at first, it can be quite discerning that everything's rushing around and flying around. Don't worry about it. Basically, if you're selecting other things, it doesn't matter, because when you pull back onto the screen you're working on, you can sort everything out. So what we need to do, both sides is no, which is okay. Cap, we want yes, and what that does, you can see there now it's put an end on that. So it's made it like a solid object, which for what we need to do is great. So we'll click that there like that, and then it's drawn us a nice little solid star. So if we then right click on our light bulb, that's brought our ring back there. Okay, so star maybe is a little bit big there, so what we can do is we can select it by drawing a box around it, and we can go to transform, scale, and then if you select it 2D, if you select it 3D, it'll scale everything, so it'll scale that way, and also the height. But we just want to keep the height, we just want to scale that way and that way. So what we'll do is we'll select 0, the origin point is from 0, enter, and then we'll just draw a line out there, and we'll just push that line back with the mouse so it's a little bit smaller. There we go. So we'll scale that now. If you can see in there, it's got a little bit smaller. So if we again select this, again, if you want to draw a little like that, or you can just click on it depending on how you want to do it. And then if we keep our finger on shift, if we try and move this round without shift, you can get it out of line, it'll wobble, but if we press shift, you can only move it, I think it's set to 45 degrees on this, but I think as Rhino comes standard 90 degrees. So we just want to move it straight up, so we'll keep our finger on, and we'll put it just about halfway in the middle of the ring, something like that. So now we've got that. Now what we're going to do is select this again, and then if we go into transform, there's a command called array. We want polar, I don't know why, it's nothing to do with the ice. Polar bears and penguins, but that's the one we want. And what that's going to do is draw lots of those around a point. Now again, the point is our favourite, 0. A number of items, 10, maybe we'll change that to 12. Now first angle point 360, that's good. So press enter, and that's given us lots of stars around the outside. So what we're going to do now is use these stars as cutters, and that's why we only put them halfway into this surface, into the ring we've made. And then we're going to select another command which is okay, which is Boolean, and we're going to use Boolean difference. Basically it's cutting the difference out. So select first surface or poly surfaces. Now the first surface you select on this command is the part you want to keep. So you select that one, and then select the second set of poly surfaces. Now we want all these stars, so what we're going to do, if we select one, if we select another one, it'll just let us do it in this command, so we can just go around, select everything that we want to cut out. There we go. No, I've not read the line then. Right, so we rerun the command. So to rerun the command that we just did, press the right click, select the first set of poly surfaces, which is that. Press enter for the second set. I wasn't reading. So second set now. There we go. So we'll just go around, select all them. There we go. And press enter when done. So basically what it's done now, it's cut halfway out of every one of them, put the stars around the ring. There's a nice little touch in here as well to look at it when it's shiny. If you go into Analyze, Surface, Environment Map, select Objects for Environment Map Analysis. So we can just set it with a box like that, press enter when done. There we go. And you can play around in here with different effects, and it gives you some idea. Now the beauty with that is you could then send that ring out, that file out, to a rapid prototyping company, and they could make that for you, either cut it out of wax, or they can mill it with resin, mill it with wax, or they can make it with a 3D printer, and then you can have that cast in whatever metal you want. So it's a really nice medium to work in. So I hope that helps out. It gives you a little bit of confidence anyway, and give it a go. I mean, it's only really basic. Some of the stuff you can do is fantastic. So thanks a lot for listening anyway.